The old St. Bartholomew's Church always gave me the creeps, even as a kid. Those towering stained-glass windows, the way every footstep echoed into the high vaulted ceilings. It felt less like a house of God and more like a stone tomb waiting for its next occupant. But I hadn't been to confession in years, and a heavy guilt had been sitting on my chest like a lead weight. So, last Tuesday, under a sky the color of a fresh bruise, I found myself pushing open its heavy oak doors. The air inside was thick, cold, and smelled of old incense and something else. Something damp and earthy, like a freshly dug grave. The place was deserted, which was a relief. I didn't want anyone seeing me, the town's prodigal son, finally crawling back. My footsteps were deafening as I made my way to the confessionals at the back. They were ancient, carved from dark, almost black wood, looking more like Gothic closets than places of spiritual cleansing. I chose the one on the left. As I pulled the heavy velvet curtain aside, my heart skipped a beat. The small red light above the priest's screen was already on. Occupied, I almost turned to leave, embarrassed, but then I hesitated. There was no sound from within, no shuffling, no coughing, just an unnerving, heavy silence. Maybe the priest was just waiting. Awkwardly, I slipped inside, the curtain falling shut behind me, plunging me into near-total darkness. I knelt on the worn kneeler, the wood groaning under my weight. My own breathing sounded loud and ragged in the cramped space. I cleared my throat, ready to begin the familiar ritual. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. It has been 10 years since my last confession. The silence that followed was absolute. I waited, and waited. The air grew colder, and a strange pressure built in my ears. Just as I was about to repeat myself, thinking perhaps he hadn't heard, a sound came from the other side of the screen. It wasn't a human voice. Not at first. It was a low, mechanical hum, like an old tape recorder worried to life. A faint click, and then, a voice. My voice. It was me, but not me. It was tinny, distorted, coming through a cheap speaker, and the words it spoke froze the blood in my veins. I lied to my mother about the money I took from her purse. A memory from when I was 15, a sin I'd confessed decades ago in this very church, maybe even this very booth. My mind reeled. Was this some kind of prank? A recording? How? Before I could process it, the recording continued, a perfect word-for-word playback of my childhood scenes. I cheated on my history. Final click. I broke Mr. Henderson's window and never told him. Click. Each confession was followed by that sickening mechanical whir and click, a ghostly Rolodex of my past failings. My heart was hammering against my ribs, a frantic bird trapped in a cage. I wanted to scream, to tear open the curtain and run, but I was paralyzed. The recorded voice was getting older, the scenes more recent, more serious. It recited the time I drove after having too much to drink, the cruel things I'd said to my ex-wife during our divorce, the business deal where I'd knowingly cut corners, costing a good man his savings. These were things I'd buried deep, things I'd barely admitted to myself, let alone another soul. How could anyone know this? The recording was a perfect echo of my life's darkest moments, a soundtrack to my shame. It was as if the walls of the confessional themselves had been listening, recording every whispered secret for years. The air became thick, almost impossible to breathe. I could feel a presence on the other side of the screen, a chilling, ancient stillness that was far more terrifying than any human priest. It felt like I was kneeling before something that had been waiting for me my entire life. Then, the recording stopped. The mechanical hum died, leaving a silence so profound it was like a physical weight pressing down on me. I held my breath, every nerve in my body screaming. A new sound started, a dry, rasping whisper that scraped its way through the screen. It wasn't my voice this time. It was ancient, dry as dust and full of a cold, patient malice. The whisper was soft, barely audible, but it drilled directly into my soul. It said, "We've heard all that." A long, terrifying pause stretched out, and I felt a tear slide down my cheek, hot against my cold skin. Then the whisper came again, a sibilant, horrifying invitation that sealed my doom. Say something new. I don't remember getting out of the booth. I don't remember running from the church. The next thing I knew, I was in my car, miles away, driving with no destination, the sun setting behind me. The whisper followed me. It's still with me now. It's there when I close my eyes, in the quiet moments before sleep. It's waiting. It knows all my old sins, and it's hungry for new ones. I haven't spoken a word since that day. I'm too afraid of what I might confess. I'm too afraid of what might be listening. Some things, you see, are never forgiven, and some things are never forgotten. They're just recorded, waiting to be played back in the dark. Thanks for watching. If stories like this give you chills, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't want to miss what's coming next. Stay safe out there, and maybe think twice before your next confession.